Namaste, and I'm going to read Volume 3, Book 3, SataRudra Samhita, Chapter 42, the 12 Jyotirlinga incarnations in the Shiva Puran. Hari Om Tat Sat. Nandishvara said, O sage, now listen to the 12 incarnations of the Lord in the form of Jyotirlingas, the cause of diverse sports. The Jyotirlingas are Somnatha in the Saurashtra territory, Malik Arjuna on the mountain Sri Sela, Mahakala in Ujjayini, Amareshvara in Omkara, Mandhata, Kidhara on the Himalaya, Bhima Shankara in the city of Dakini, Visveshvara in the city of Varanasi, Triambaka on the banks of Gautami, Vedyanatha in the cremation ground, Nagesa in the forest of Daruka, Rameshvara in the Setubhanda, Kushmesvara in the Shiva temple. O sage, the 12 incarnations of the Supreme Soul are wholly delightful to all men of foreseeing and touching. There the first one, Somanatha, annihilated the distress of the moon. O sage, by worshipping it, dispels the ailments of consumption, leprosy, etc. This incarnation of Shiva, Somesa, is stationed in the auspicious land of Saurashtra in the form of a phallic image. It was worshipped by the moon formerly. Kandara Kunda, the pond of the moon, is there itself, and it destroys all sins. By bathing there, man becomes intelligent and gets rid of his ailments. On seeing Someshvara, the great phallic image of Shiva, people are freed from sins. They attain worldly pleasures and salvation. O there, the second incarnation of Shiva, Mallikarjuna on the mountain, Sri Sela, is the bestower of the desires of devotees. O sage, Shiva went there from his mountain with great pleasure in order to see his son Kartikeya. It is stationed there in the form of the phallic image. It is the second Jyotirlinga. O sage, it is very pleasing. By seeing and worshipping it, one derives salvation hereafter. There is no doubt in this. O there, Shiva incarnated himself as Mahakala in the city of Ujjayini for the protection of his devotees. The demon Dusana, a resident of Ratnamala, was a defiler of Vedic rites, a hater of Brahmins, and destroyer of everyone. When he reached Ujjayini, the Lord was meditated upon by the sons of the Vedic Brahmins. He reduced the demon to ashes by a mere humkara. After killing him, on being requested by the gods, Lord Mahakala stayed there in the form of a Jyotirlinga. He continues to protect his devotees. By seeing and strenuously worshipping the phallic image of Mahakala, the devotee attains his desires and the greatest goal. The fourth incarnation of Shiva, the Supreme Soul, the Great Lord, in Omkara, Mandatha, is a bestower of the desires of his devotees. O sage, Lord Shiva manifested himself from his earthen phallic image, devoutly installed by Brahma, and he fulfilled the desires of the mountain. On being requested by the gods, the Lord, in the form of his phallic image, stayed there twofold, bestowing worldly pleasures and salvation and being favorably disposed towards his devotees. The excellent phallic image abides in the syllable Omkara. O great sage, it also abides in the earthen phallic image in Omkara Mandatha. O sage, O great sage, Whatever is seen or worshipped in the extremely divine phallic image described to you is the bestower of the desires of all devotees. The fifth great incarnation of Shiva is the Kedaresa. He is stationed in Kedara in the form of Jyotirlinga. It was at the request of the twofold incarnations of Vishnu, named Nara and Narayana, that Shiva stayed in Kedara on the mountain Himavat. O sage, Shiva, named Kedareshvara, was worshipped every day by them. He is the bestower of the desires of the devotees by his sight and worship. Although he is the Lord of all, he is the particular reigning deity of this territory. O there, that incarnation of Shiva is the bestower of all desires. The sixth incarnation of Shiva, the great Lord, named Bhima Shankara, performed great sports. He destroyed the demon Bhima. After killing this wonderfully lusty demon who caused misery to the devotees, the Lord saved the devotee Sudaksina, who was the king of Kamarupa. Requested by him, Shiva himself, in the name of Bhima Sankara, stayed in Dakini in the form of Jyotirlinga. O sage, the seventh incarnation as Visveshvara at Kashi is in the form of the entire cosmic egg. It yields worldly pleasures and salvation. He is always worshipped by Vishnu and all other gods, as well as Kubera and Bhairava. He is stationed there in the form of Jyotirlinga. In his own city, the Lord is in the form of Siddha, and he confers salvation. Those who repeat the names of Kashi and Visvesa perform their japa with devotion become unaffected by actions and reach the state of Kevalya. The eighth incarnation, Triambaka, of the moon-crested Lord Shiva made its appearance on the banks of the river Gautami on being requested by the sage Gautama. At the request of Gautama, and with a desire to delight that sage, the Lord stood there motionless in the form of Jyotirlinga. All desires fructify at the sight and touch of the great Lord. Thereafter salvation too is attained. With the blessings of Shiva and pleased with Gautama, the holy river Ganga, the bestower of Shiva, stayed there in the name of Gautami. The ninth incarnation is glorified as Vedyanatha. The Lord, indulging in many sports, manifested himself for the sake of Ravana. Under the pretext of fetching him, Lord Shiva was installed in the cremation ground in the form of Jyotirlinga. The Lord, in the name of Vedyanatha, became famous in the three worlds. Seeing and worshipping him with devotion yields worldly pleasures and salvation. O sage, this benedictory passage referring to the greatness of Shiva in the name of Vedyanatheshvara yields worldly pleasures and salvation to those who read and listen. The incarnation of Nageshvara is glorified as the 10th one. The Lord manifested himself as the chastiser of the wicked for his devotees. He killed the Rakshasa Daruka, a violator of virtue. He saved his devotee Supriya, who was a merchant king. In order to help all the worlds, Shiva the Great, indulgent in sports, remained there, assuming the form of Jyotirlinga, accompanied by Parvati. O sage, at the sight of Shiva's phallic image, named Nageshvara, and thanks to its worship, heaps of great sins perish immediately. O sage, the incarnation of Shiva is the 11th one. It was pleasing to Rama, and it was installed by him. Duly propitiated by Rama, Shiva, who was favorably disposed towards his devotees, manifested himself in the phallic image and granted the boon of victory to him. O sage, the Lord implored ardently by Rama and propitiated by Rama stayed at Setubhanda in the form of Jyotirlinga. The grandeur of Rameshvara in the world was wonderful and incomparable, yielding worldly pleasures and salvation and bestowing the desires of the devotees ever. The man who performs the ablution of Rameshvara is really a living, liberated soul. After enjoying all worldly pleasures here and then, getting perfect knowledge, he shall obtain salvation hereafter. The incarnation of Shiva as Gushmeshvara is the 12th, wherein the Lord indulged in different sports and conferred bliss on Gushma, he is favorably disposed towards his devotees. O sage, the Lord manifested himself in a lake near the Devasela in the southern quarter, acting favorably to Gushma. O sage, Shiva, who is favorably disposed towards his devotees, entirely revived the son of Gushma, who was killed by Sudheya. He was so pleased with her devotion. At her request, Shiva stayed in the lake in the form of Jyotilinga, Kushmeshvara, conferring desires to the devotees. The man who sees that phallic image and worships it with devotion enjoys happiness here and attains salvation hereafter. Thus I have explained to you the series of divine Jyotilingas, 12 in number, yielding both worldly pleasures and salvation. He who reads or listens to this narrative of Jyotilingas becomes freed of all sins and derives worldly pleasures and salvation. Thus I have described the compendium SataRudra by name, which glorifies the 100 incarnations of Shiva and yields the fruits of desires. He who reads this always or listens to it devotedly attains all desires and then becomes liberated, to be sure. Footnotes. 101. On the basis of the serial order of the Jyotilingas as outlined in the succeeding verses in this chapter and the verses 21 to 23 of the chapter, first in the KRS, the order of the verses 2 and 3 in this chapter in the printed Skanda text has been reversed in the present English translation. Saurashtra 102. Saurashtra is the southern part of Katerwar. 103. Sri Sela or Sri Parvata is one of the sacred hills of the south overhanging the Krishna River. It contains the celebrated shrine of Mallikarjuna, one of the 12 Jyotilingas. 104. The town of ancient seat of learning is identical with Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. 105. A sacred place of Shiva pilgrimage in the Nimar district in Madhya Pradesh. 106. It is a sacred Himalayan peak in Garhwal. 107. A holy place of pilgrimage on the bank of the Bhima River, northwest of Pune. 108. A famous town in the east. It still retains its ancient name. 109. Gautami or Godavari is situated about 20 miles from Nashik. It issues from Triambaka. 110. Whether it is an ordinary cremation ground or a particular locality is not clear. 111. Daruvana is placed on the Himalayas near Kedara in Garhwal on the Ganga. 112. A very sacred place in the south. It still retains its ancient name. 114. According to the present chapter 5, it is situated on the Deva mountain in the south for the identification of Devagiri. See Gimi, page 107. Here ends today's reading of the Shiva Puran. Om Prabhu Pranaratam Vyomveshwaratam Jagannataratam Sarantabhajam. Hari Om Tat Sat.